Baylor 8-6 in game 1 of Pool A. Oklahoma about to play its first game in this event. And Oklahoma State with the 3-2 win over Texas. So the Cowgirls are 1-0 in Pool B. Texas is 0-1. And this is Iowa State's very first game. It seems as though, DJ, you're only as good as your starting pitcher. And Texas has a really good one in Shaylin O'Leary. How important is a good start for her in this one?
No question. Iowa State is a team of momentum. They're playing very good softball right now coming into this tournament. And O'Leary has proven time and time again this season that she's got the stuff. So for Texas right now, especially bouncing right off of that tough loss in extra innings to Oklahoma State, this is an opportunity for O'Leary to get a little bit of momentum in that Texas dugout to start this ball game.
So here we go. Texas just walked in probably 5 minutes ago. The OGE Energy Stadium is right next to this one, Integris Field. So they just got here, and it's kick the tires and light the fires for Shaylin O'Leary and the Longhorns.
And sometimes coming off a tough game like that, the best thing sometimes is to be able to get right back at it.
O'Leary went 8 2/3 innings in the game that preceded this one. Gave 9 hits. She struck out 4 and walked 1. The game-winning run scored on a throwing error by the Longhorns. Oklahoma State winning that one 3-2. So here's Iowa State. Carly Spellhog, this is a team with nothing to lose. They have the highest RPI in program history. Still a good chance to make the postseason. One of the 2 postseason tournaments, perhaps even the NCAA tournament.
No question, and I expect to see Iowa State get a berth to a regional. They've had a great season, but again, this is a team that doesn't have anything to lose.
Spellhog pops up to the shortstop, Mackenzie Parker, to start this game as we are off and running. Spellhog is followed by one of the all-time greats in Iowa State history and in the Big 12 Conference, Sammy Williams, who is set to stand in. 4 times all Big 12. And she is all over the Iowa State and Big 12 record books. She's the active NCAA leader in hits, doubles, and total bases. And Iowa State's career leader in homers, games, runs, and hits. And she pulls this one to third. Corona picks it up. 2 gone.
Good start here for O'Leary. Using her defense. Iowa State coming out aggressively here in the first inning. But O'Leary making quick work so far.
Base is empty, 2 gone, and the catcher, Michaela Ramos, will be the batter. Junior out of Riverside, California. 2nd team All Big 12 this year. 361 hitter. First pitch swinging. And Corona takes care of the final 2 outs. An easy 1-2-3 first for O'Leary. We'll give you the Texas batting lineup as we move to the bottom of the first here in Oklahoma City next. Bottom of the first inning. Janae Jefferson, Taylor Ellsworth, the right fielder batting second, then the left fielder Lauren Burke, and if anybody reaches safely, we will see the catcher Mary Iacopo in the first for Texas. There's Shannon Mortimer, the right-hander for Iowa State, junior from South Grafton, Massachusetts. She was hurt last year, but kind of a little different pace, I think. As Jamie Pinkerton said, she will pitch slow, slower, and slowest. So they throw the Longhorns a bit of a change-up here.
Pun intended.
Yes,
Chad.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, she's a spinner. She's a thumber, and that's what Mortimer does. She doesn't have that massive velocity. You're not going to see those super high strikeout numbers, but she does keep hitters off balance. And she
slashes to this one. 0-2 the count. Where do you begin with Janae Jefferson?
keep her off base, I'll say that much. But
good luck.
You know, she has just been huge for this Longhorn lineup this year. Offensively, what she does and what she continues to do, getting on base and hitting gap to gap, stealing bases.
I mean, that's a simple 2-hopper back to the mound, and she beats it out by 3 steps at first base.
She just has speed that is nearly impossible to defend. And, you know, here, usually you put a slap back to the pitcher, that's not where you want it. Jefferson, it's not even close because she has the speed, but she also does a good job with her touch. When she is using the short game and the slap, she's very deliberate with what she does.
That'll bring up Taylor Ellsworth. And there's a base for Jefferson there as that one is in the dirt. It bounds away from Ramos. So a wild pitch moves Janae Jefferson straight away into scoring position. Texas has manipulated the lineup a little bit from game 1 earlier today. And Ellsworth has moved up into the number 2 spot. She batted 5th in the earlier game. Mike White, his 3rd season on the 40 acres. Last time we had an NCAA championship, the Longhorns made their first super regional since 2013. And it certainly will be interesting to see Texas deserving of being a national seed. There's Mike. Great run at Oregon from 2010 to 18. 5 Women's College World Series. So he is very familiar with Oklahoma City. He's made the trip many times from the Pacific Northwest, making it here as head coach at Texas. This one bunted foul.
Yeah, it's good to see the Longhorns back on that national seed stage level. You know, it's being back at a super regional for the first time in 5 years back in 2018. Obviously a season cut short a year ago, but this Texas Longhorn team has really kind of looked like the pedigree of this program that this program has always had here since Mike White has taken over.
Ellsworth drives this deep down the left field line, but foul. 1-2 the count. Last year, Texas got to number 1 in the country for the first time since 2005, as you talk about them elevating back to their level. First time since 2006, actually, before the pandemic shut down the year.
You know, and all the way back there to 2006, that's the Cat Osterman era.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Texas was really launched into that, having Cat Osterman in the circle, who was nearly unhittable.
Ellsworth rifles that one, caught by Mortimer. The throw to second is not in time as Jefferson is able to dive back in safely. A defensive great play by Mortimer. You could tell by her reaction she had her eyes closed.
She did, and getting that glove up there just in time. The unfortunate part was Iowa State had an opportunity to get out of this jam a little bit here, and Simpson a little bit late getting to the bag. Now, she didn't have much time, but you see Mortimer come up, and she had to triple pump before she could make that throw, giving Jefferson enough time to get back to the bag.
So the line out for the first out of the inning. That brings in Lauren Burke, who's playing left field. Junior from Eugene, Oregon. One of 3 transfers from Oregon. Came with Mike White when he accepted the Texas job. And Jefferson just having fun on the base paths out there. She will be a nightmare to handle.
Yes, that is what Jefferson, she does a lot of things really well, but one of the things she does best is applying pressure to defenses on the base paths. She is a threat to steal. She's not just a threat to steal second. She'll take off and take third base as well.
Burke pulls this one foul. Mike White's been around Lauren Burke, he said, since she was about 7 years old. And their daughters played on a 10-year-old travel ball team. And he certainly followed Lauren Burke's career. She was on the Pac-12 all-freshman team at Oregon. A junior with the Longhorns.
Mortimer in this game, is kind of talked about earlier, doesn't have the velocity. It looks like right now these Texas hitters are just sitting back.
Burke with a base hit to right center field. Jefferson will scoot around third base and score the first run easily. That is the 5th hit in 2 games today so far for Burke.
She has come into this Big 12 championship seeing the ball well. Talking about sitting back, you see Lauren Burke out a little bit in front of this pitch on the outside corner, but just sat enough to be able to drive it in for the RBI.
31st RBI for Lauren Burke. And Texas is on the board. A run on 2 hits. First pitch is a little low to Mary Iacopo, the catcher, junior from Carson, California, also an Oregon transfer. 15 home runs on the season. First team all Big 12. One of the biggest things she provides is athleticism behind home plate, a rocket arm.
No question. She's very animated with her movements. You almost see her every time. Before the pitcher gets ready to throw the pitch, she pounds her glove, and you can hear it throughout the park.
She hits a pop-up, drifting out toward right field, and caught by the second baseman Simpson. 2 down.
And that's a huge out by Mortimer as we're sitting here talking about Iacopo. She is such a threat offensively in what she does. She is always one swing away from putting a run on the board. So huge out there by Mortimer.
So Burke at first base after her RBI single, and with 2 gone, here's Shannon Rhodes. Shannon Rhodes out in center field, one of the super seniors, 2nd team all Big 12 this year, also an Oregon transfer. .54 runs driven in, 4th in the Big 12. She's got 15 home runs. That one cut off at third by Shaban, and the inning is over. Longhorns on the board, though. RBI single by Lauren Burke. 1-0 Texas, moving to the 2nd. Texas and Iowa State. Cyclones' first game in this event. Longhorns trying to shake off a 1-run loss to Oklahoma State. And they did a good job of it, getting on the board in that bottom of the 1st inning. Now Shaylin O'Leary back out there to face the middle third of this Iowa State lineup. Check swing, roller to short. Parker just in time to get Ochoa.
Good job by Parker. Ochoa kind of putting almost a check swing on this. And Parker playing it well with the throw on the run. Barely. We're talking half a step.
I think that's a good call. Kaylee Young, the first base umpire, right on top of that. You almost get the, not just the sight, but the sound of pop, boom. Pop, boom.
Yeah, and she was right. It was close, but definitely the right call.
Alicia Ranches lifts this one to right field. Taylor Ellsworth for out number 2. Quickly, Shaylin O'Leary is 5 up and 5 down.
And Iowa State is coming out swinging. They haven't found a way to find anything fall yet. You kind of start to wonder. They're making O'Leary's job pretty simple here right now. You might want to dial back that aggressiveness a little bit, make O'Leary throw a few more pitches, and not let her get in that dugout too quickly.
Kelly Gosey swings at the first pitch, and she is out number 3 quickly. That was 4 pitches, 3 outs, and it's 6 up and 6 down for O'Leary and the Longhorns. 1-0 Texas, moving to the bottom of the 2nd. It's the Phillips 66 Big 12 Softball Championship. Bottom of the 2nd inning coming your way from Integris Field, just to the west of OGE Energy Stadium, where Oklahoma and Baylor are currently playing in Pool A of this event. And Baylor which just lost a tough one, 8-6 to Texas Tech on this field. They made the trek up there to OGE Energy Stadium. They've got a 2-0 lead on Oklahoma. Here it is 1-0 Longhorns. Lauren Burke, an RBI single in the first. Mackenzie Parker, the shortstop, leads things off. Low and away, 2-0. Mackenzie Parker is a player that Mike White said, I don't know that a year ago we would have seen her as a starter. Fast forwarding to this time now, but she has worked extremely hard, made great growth, shown some pop at the plate this year. Sophomore out of Conroe, Texas, and she's solidified the defense at shortstop.
She has, and you know, she has been a staple in this lineup. And one thing that I think that kind of the transition of what happened last year in COVID and players getting an extra year, it makes some of these lineups even tougher to get into. It's, you have players who are supposed to be graduating and being replaced by underclassmen or freshmen, and now you have super seniors. You have freshmen coming in who are giving some of these seniors a run for their money. So it's been a really interesting year as far as lineups go, and just kind of seeing some of these teams have kind of these battles in a good way within their own lineup of who's going to make the starting nine, because we don't just have 13, 14 players on roster. Now you're looking at rosters with 17 or 18, even upwards of 20 players.
Popped up, and that'll get out of play. And you'll hear coaches talk about it, and you having been a head coach, DJ, sometimes it's not about the 9 you're putting in the lineup every day. It's about keeping the other 20 happy, finding them at bats and keeping them engaged.
No question. And keeping players ready to go and continuing to have those competitions within your team and having players that can push each other.
Parker grounds out to Casey Simpson. 3 straight retired by Mortimer since she gave up the base hit to Lauren Burke. There's Mike White. 3rd season as head coach at Texas, looking for their 39th win of the year. The number 3 seed in this event. He said, you know, their top 3 or 4 hitters is kind of set, but they're still continuing to find that formula with the lineup. And he said, we want to play well against really good competition. They played a lot of close games, lost that 3-2 game to Oklahoma State earlier. But those are the teams you have to beat when you get to the postseason.
Yeah, and that's something, I mean, honestly, that Texas, I mean, they're walking in here with a 38-10 record, but those 10 losses are coming to teams that are ranked in the top 10, more or less. And they've played a lot of them. They racked up 3 losses to Oklahoma in a very highly touted series that people were really thinking this is going to be a real test for OU, and it really turned out it wasn't. And, you know, Texas walked away from that series, I think, realizing there were some shifts that needed to be made when playing those tougher teams. That top 5 ranked team, as Texas is, still dropping some games, close games. And again, once postseason rolls around, anything can happen.
Colleen Sullivan, the designated player for this game, has played some first base as well. One hopper speared by Mortimer. Well, she's had to be on her toes early in this game. 2 gone.
She's on her toes and has a big grin on her face, taking ground balls, line drives right back to her and doing a good job finding a way to get the outs. And you can even see that I think the whole infield's grinning when they see her starting to kind of run the ball over after knocking that ball down.
Base is empty, 2 down for J.J. Smith, who's playing first base this game. Has DH'd some as well. Was on the Big 12 all-freshman team. Player not afraid of any situation. Mike White said, I can plug her in wherever, whenever. She's ready to roll.
And that's not always the case with freshmen. You know, freshmen sometimes are kind of learning their way. So to be able to have someone to move around like Smith as a freshman is a big deal. That
one caught by Ramos. Texas goes 1-2-3 in the second. Longhorns lead it 1-0 already. The top of the third. Rolling in from Oklahoma Stern, Oklahoma City. You've got the Oklahoma City Zoo, Remington Park, good golf courses, and of course this jewel, which has become even fancier here the last couple of years. First pitch swinging. Camille Corona grounds out to Logan Shapen. I beg your pardon, that is a ground out by Simpson. I mean, Iowa State, if we're looking, 7 at bats, and I think 6 have swung at the first pitch, DJ.
They have. I'm sitting over here doing the same counting, and again, I'm all for aggressiveness, but when you're not getting your outcomes and you are making O'Leary throw 1 or 2 pitches per batter, you're making her job way too easy. So there is a time for aggression, but at the same time, you've got to make sure that you are having good at-bats and working the count a little bit more than 1 or 2 pitches.
Logan Shapen, senior from Portsmouth, Iowa. And bounced foul. Count 1-2 now. Defender and leader for this team is Logan Shapen. Jamie Pinkerton says she suffered from Adam syndrome. Hitting the ball Adam a lot. A lot of line drives right at people.
Sometimes you see that and then go 0 for 6 with 3 line drives and 3 just missed fly balls, and then you'll have a swinging bunt and end up on first base.
That one swung on and missed and hung on to by Iacopo. A strikeout for O'Leary. 8 up, 8 down. That's her first strikeout.
She hasn't thrown enough pitches to get a strikeout, but good job here by O'Leary with the drop ball working down in the zone, getting Shapen to chase.
O'Leary, second team All Big 12 this year, 12-3 with a 1.77 ERA.
She's been very solid, and again, she doesn't have that overpowering velocity, but she spots her pitches well. The way that she sets up hitters keeps hitters guessing, and you can tell that offensively teams don't really ever get comfortable against O'Leary in the box. So she may not have that overpowering velocity, but what she does have is that kind of that pitcher mindset of every pitch and being very deliberate with where she is putting every single pitch.
Mike White says her greatest area of improvement has been off-speed pitches. And she's really just been their most consistent pitcher this year. Molly Jacobson, they've also used. Riley White, Courtney Day.
Now, one thing that I think has really kind of contributed to Texas's success this year is the fact that they have an entire staff. They haven't, you know, O'Leary has thrown a lot of innings, but she hasn't had to throw every single inning. And being able to have a staff is going to keep your pitchers fresher.
Mackenzie Parker takes care of out number 3. 1-2-3 innings in the circle for Shea O'Leary so far. Her Longhorns have her a 1-0 lead headed to the last of the third. Ernie from Ames, Iowa for the Cyclones to watch their club as well. 1-0. Texas on top. And they're coming to the plate here in the third inning. Shannon Mortimer back out to the circle, the junior from South Grafton, Massachusetts. It's been very good in relief. In fact, she's 5-0 in relief this year for the Cyclones. Getting the start in this one.
I can see how Mortimer has had success late in games, kind of taking on that relief role just because of the type of pitcher that she is. Again, she's kind of a thumber, and that really, when you've seen some pretty good speed throughout the game, that'll really change the pace.
Good play coming in from third by Shaban. Corona retired for the first out here in the third.
I like the idea by Corona trying to get something going here for the Longhorns. Pretty good bunt. Shaban just coming through, making a great play, getting rid of it quickly. Again, another tight play at first base.
Janae Jefferson up for the second time. She had an infield hit her first time and scored on Lauren Burke's RBI single. That's the lone run to this point. One and one. 3 times first team All Big 12 for Janae Jefferson.
And well deserved. I mean, she just everything that she has done in a Longhorn uniform. You know, we talk so much about what she does offensively, but she has been solid on the defensive side of the ball as well. Just a full all-around ball player in Janae Jefferson.
Mike White calls her Robo-Bat. Just a machine at getting hits. Strike 2 from Shannon Mortimer. I mean, she hit .554 last year, did Jefferson. There's only 27 games, but she is the all-time leading hitter in Texas history already. 257 now.
And what's so impressive is, you know, of those base hits, everything that she does when she gets on first base with a single. And she's got the pop too, to work gap to gap and even get out of the yard here and there. But she's on first base. It's almost a double because she can steal almost on any catcher.
She hits a fly ball to right, caught by Malaysia Ochoa. 2 down. And that brings in Taylor Ellsworth. Ellsworth hit that line drive right back at Mortimer in the first. Mortimer reached up and more in self-defense caught the ball. It was going right at her head.
And thank goodness she did, because it was, I mean, that was a just pure reflex, get the glove up reaction.
Ellsworth homered against Iowa State in game 1 of the series they played earlier this year. Texas won all 3 games up in Ames.
Iowa State, with everything that they've done this season, I mean, walking into Big 12 play, you know, a lot of their losses came in conference play, dropping 3 to Texas, who is ranked in the top 5, I believe, or excuse me, ranked in the top 25. And then you've got 3 losses to OU, who's ranked. I mean, it's tough when you see those 19 losses for Iowa State, knowing that a good chunk of them came in conference, just kind of showing how tough this Big 12 conference is this season.
2 teams consistently in the top 10 for the second half of the year in Oklahoma, Texas, and Oklahoma State. And 3 teams who have a great chance to be national seeds. This one run down in foul ground by Ochoa, and the inning is over. Longhorns go 1-2-3 for the second straight inning. Mortimer has Hogg, who popped up to short to start the game.
Iowa State, as we're getting deeper into this game, midway through this game, they've been very aggressive, haven't had a lot of success. So it's going to be interesting going through this lineup for the second time if we start to see a little bit more of a game plan come into play for Iowa State to try to start to string something together.
Popped up, out by second base. Mackenzie Parker takes care of out number 1.
O'Leary just trucking along. Again, making pretty quick work of these Cyclone hitters. We're yet to see Iowa State put something in play that has been hit solid.
Perhaps it'll be Sammy Williams. Fouls that one into Iacopo's glove. Williams, .445 average this year, 6th in the Big 12. 54 runs driven in. Swings through that one.
Good pitch there by O'Leary. You kind of see the setup to Sammy Williams. She's just working that curveball on the outer half. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see the 2-strike even just a little bit further.
Williams fouls this one out of play. Jamie Pinkerton really liked what he saw when his team arrived in Oklahoma City. Went through a practice. Afterward, he said he was talking to them and how do you feel? What do you really think about this? And heading into this event, what's the mindset? He was asking his players as Williams drills the first hit of the game for the Cyclones out into left. He said the word that came into his head was relaxed. Relaxed and confident. That will help with the relaxation and confidence. Williams with a base hit.
No question. And again, first solidly hit ball of the game by Sammy Williams, coming in with the single. And Iowa State is a scrappy team. And when you listen to Pinkerton, Coach Pinkerton kind of talk about, you know, them coming in relaxed and having fun. And, you know, I think a lot of that kind of goes to kind of their body of work throughout this season. You have a team that has gone into almost every game they've played as the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that's a role that they've kind of taken upon themselves and going, well, why are we going to go out to the Big 12 championship after running the gauntlet of the Big 12 conference season, acting like we're out there going to do anything different than what we've been doing. And you can kind of see it in the way that Iowa State goes about the game of kind of taking on this, we have something to prove, kind of underdog type of mentality.
Be the team nobody wants to play.
Exactly.
That's driven hard to left. Played on a hop by Burke. The throw comes in and Williams beats the wrap out at second base. She kind of had to wait to make sure that line drive was not caught.
Yeah, and I mean, the way that it kind of went down with Burke out in left, this is a playable, catchable ball. Hit hard and hit well by Ramos, but that is a playable ball, and I think Burke got lucky keeping it in front.
Kind of an in-betweener there. So Iowa State had nothing. I mean, O'Leary had retired 10 straight, and all of a sudden hits for Williams and Ramos, and the tying run is in scoring position.
And we saw Iowa State come out early. O'Leary has not thrown very many pitches, but this inning here in the fourth, we've seen Williams work to a 2-0 count and making O'Leary get in hitters' counts as opposed to working ahead by early swings or even just one pitch at bat. So making O'Leary throw different pitches, and we're starting to see some success by Iowa State.
Malaysia Ochoa shows bunt with one out. And the count goes to 2-1. Ochoa was on the Big 12 all-freshman team. Added .344 with 7 home runs. And 18 stolen bases tied her for first in the Big 12 during the regular season. And she's in the cleanup spot. Pulled to second base. Longhorns could get two. Parker's relay, though, is not in time, as Ochoa has excellent speed. She beats the wrap. Williams goes to third. Runners at the corners and two down for Texas, or for Iowa State.
Big out here by O'Leary. Getting the ground ball, had the opportunity for the double play. And honestly, I think Jefferson, had she come up to tag Ramos instead of shoveling it to second base, she could have gotten Texas out of this inning by turning the double play.
Alicia Ranches with Williams at third and two down. Chance to tie this game. She hit a fly ball to the right fielder Taylor Ellsworth back in the second.
That's a good pitch. Curious. I think that's the pitcher in me going, that's a strike. But good pitch by O'Leary on the inner half of the plate. Must have just missed inside for a ball.
Two-one. A flare that lands behind second base and chases home the tying run as Sammy Williams scores. Iowa State has tied it. Ranches didn't hit it hard, but found grass out in center field. It is one apiece.
And here comes Iowa State, that scrappy team. O'Leary bringing the ball inside, and Ranches just finding a way to get enough of it and kind of hit it into no man's land.
1-1 here in the fourth. And now the go-ahead run is in scoring position. Ochoa at second base, Ranches at first. RBI number 21 for Ranches. Callie Gosey fouls this one back. 0-2 the count on her. Gosey flied out to Lauren Burke in left field, her first time. A run home on 3 hits for Iowa State to tie it.
We're starting to see Iowa State offensively get into a little bit of a groove. You can kind of see their game plan kind of coming into play a little bit more. Started very aggressive against O'Leary and kind of had to take a little bit of a step back.
Gosey pulls this one to Janae Jefferson, and the inning is over. But the Cyclones tie it up on an RBI single by Alicia Ranches. It's one apiece headed to the bottom of the fourth inning. Rapid pace to it so far. 1-1. It's been a pitcher's duel. A lot of first pitch swings. And we've only played about 45 minutes to get here into this fourth inning. Only scoring so far, that's an RBI single by Lauren Burke that chased home Janae Jefferson with a Texas run in the bottom of the first inning. And you just saw Iowa State tie it on this flare base hit to center by Alicia Ranches. One apiece. Texas coming plateward here in the bottom of the fourth at the Phillips 66 Big 12 Softball Championship. So it is pool play today, and then we will pair things off, Group A and Group B. The teams with the best record in each pool will play for first place tomorrow. Next best record plays for third, and then the fifth place game in effect between the teams that have the worst record coming out of pool play. Tiebreakers. The first tiebreaker is head-to-head. If two teams end up 1-1, then you go head-to-head who won that. If we have a three-way tie at 1-1, then we have to go to runs allowed would be the tiebreaker. And anytime it's a two-team head-to-head matchup, you go to what the result was between the two teams. That one is caught down the line by Ramos.
territory. Field. Ramos went a long way hanging with this foul ball, and that's a big out, but she went a long way for this ball. Great play in foul territory.
How much ground do you think she covered on that?
She covered a ton. I mean, she was playing straight up in left field, so she got a great beat on the ball off the bat.
That brings in Iakopa. Iakopa popped up to the second baseman, Casey Simpson, her first time. 15 home runs, 43 runs driven in.
Iakopa is just so that out of Lauren Burke is huge. Keep runners off base.
Pulled to third, picked up by Shaban. 2 down. What a start for Mortimer. It's only her second start of the year. I mentioned how good she's been going 5-0 out of the bullpen.
And catching Iakopa just off her front foot around the ball. And again, Mortimer gave up the run in the first, and she has been lights out ever since.
It brings in Rhodes, who grounded to third her first time.
It's pretty cool for Mortimer, you know, when probably got the nod of, hey, you've got the ball today against Texas. And she's only had one start on the season. Just kind of shows the confidence that this coaching staff has in her.
Maybe unexpected from Texas's standpoint. They would have figured they might see Ellie Spellhog, who leads the Big 12 with 32 appearances. Instead, you get a literal changeup in Mortimer.
And also, too, good adjustment by Coach Pinkerton and the staff kind of going, you know, what we did in Ames a couple weeks ago against Texas didn't work. And, you know, what is a game plan that we can put together to give us the best opportunity to keep runs off the board? Because Texas, everything that they've done this season has been very offensively fired. They put a lot of runs on the board.
To right field and down in front of Ochoa. A 2-out single for Shannon Rhodes.
Rhodes falling in for a single here. Just the off speed down and away. 2-out single. Good job of just keeping the ball in front. A 2-out single's not going to kill you.
That breaks a string of 10 straight retired by Mortimer. A 2-out single by Rhodes. And here's the shortstop, Mackenzie Parker. That bounds away from Ramos. And just like that, Texas has the go-ahead run in scoring position. Second wild pitch uncorked by Mortimer today. Up the middle, base hit. Quickly around third comes Rhodes. The throw by Gosey will not be in time, and Texas retakes the lead on an RBI single by Mackenzie Parker. Happened quickly. Base hit, wild pitch, boom, run home.
And just as I said, the 2-out single isn't going to kill you. The wild pitch happened, putting Rhodes in scoring position. And great clutch hitting here by Parker, answering back to that run that Iowa State put up in the top half of the inning.
So Mackenzie Parker comes through with the big single. And here is Colleen Sullivan. ...22nd run batted in this year. This one is ripped down the left field line by Sullivan. Parker churning for the plate. The throw will not be in time. An RBI double by Sullivan, and Texas has a 3-1 lead.
And here comes that Longhorn offense that has been so potent all season. And here's the thing, doing this all with 2 outs. You've got Mortimer trying to hit the outside corner, and Colleen Sullivan just being on time and turned on this pitch down into the corner. Not very often you see a double score a runner from first base.
And time called as the Cyclones want to talk it over. Mortimer was sailing along. As I said, she'd retired 10 straight, but then Rhodes, the base hit. Parker and Sullivan, wild pitch contributes to it also.
It was a very quick turn of events. We saw Mortimer just get 2 quick outs here in the 4th, and then 1 2-out single has kind of started a 2-out rally here for Texas.
Texas in a run at second base for Sullivan with M.K. Tedder. M.K. Tedder Jr. out of Hoover, Alabama, 4th year in this Texas program. She's at second base, and here's J.J. Smith. Smith flied out to Ramos and left her first time.
And Mortimer with her off speed, it's, as you said, to kind of start the game, Coach Pinkerton kind of describes it as slow, and slower as far as what Mortimer throws. And we're starting to see Texas make that adjustment. They're really sitting back and sitting almost in change-up rhythm.
1-1 the count on Smith. .368 in her freshman year. That one pulled to first, and Spellhawk will take care of it. Inning over, but 3 straight hits producing 2 Texas runs. And the Longhorns climb back on top 3-1 after 4. Opportunity to have 3 national seeds when the selection show happens this weekend. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, you would think, most certainly will be national seeds. This is a look at the Big 12 RPI. Iowa State has the highest RPI in program history at 34. And then Baylor, you feel like they are in pretty good shape for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you know, for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, they are playing this weekend, not to get into the tournament, obviously, but to host a regional and a super regional with that national seed. And that's a big deal for some teams. Not having to travel and having that home team advantage sometimes can be the difference between being here at the Hall of Fame Stadium in June and not. So, you know, it's pretty impressive, too, for Iowa State to do what they've done this season and be as high as they are in the RPI. I mean, there were many seasons that Iowa State missed out on going to a regional, and that will not be the case this season for the Cyclones.
Pop up. Jefferson takes care of Simpson to start the 5th inning. So we mentioned RPI. What all goes into this component, DJ?
You know, a big chunk of it is how well your winning percentage. What is that record? And then the thing that carries the most weight is the strength of schedule. So you can have a wonderful, awesome record, but if you haven't played a very tough schedule, your RPI is going to still be significantly lower than what your schedule would show. So not only do you have to win games, but you have to win quality games.
And from Texas' standpoint, they have now 10 losses on the year, but 7 of those to either Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, both who are top 7 in the RPI, as Shaban is retired for the 2nd out here in the 5th inning.
And that makes a difference. I mean, for Texas, they're another team that's vying for one of those top 8 seeds. And they very well, depending on what their showing looks like this weekend, they're a team that could be in the mix. They could be in that conversation as well. So something that's really amazing about the Big 12 this season is part of the reason Iowa State's RPI is as high as it is because of how tough the Big 12 is as far as competition from top to bottom. Then you even see Kansas, who isn't here this weekend, who is in the top 60 RPI.
There's a strike call, evening the count at 1-1. And it's the elevation of the teams who have been at the bottom of the league for many years. Jamie Pinkerton, this job he's done at Iowa State has been excellent. And you've got Sammy Ward reviving Texas Tech as well, getting them into this Big 12 championship.
It's good to see. And there is no off weekend in the Big 12 in conference. I mean, I can almost guarantee you that anyone who was having to travel to Ames, Iowa this year to play a home 3-game set with Iowa State was not feeling real great on that trip up to Ames.
That one is caught by Corona at third. 1-2-3. Go the Cyclones in the 5th inning. Skylar Ramos is retired. 3-1 Texas, and the Longhorns get back to the bats here at the USA Softball Hall of Fame complex. Longhorns got 2 runs the last time they were at the plate. This is a big day for Big 12 softball because it's been nearly 1,100 days since the tournament had a completion back in 2018. 2019 was weathered out on the final day. And of course, last year we did not have an event because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Oklahoma has won this event 6 times. DJ, you played in it just a couple of years ago. But your senior year was when the event went away in 2011.
It was, and I kind of got to see all facets of the Big 12 tournament. When I was an underclassman, it was double elimination. For a year, it was single elimination, and then it was gone altogether. So happy to see it back because it's such an awesome event. And again, gives teams opportunities to make a way to postseason.
Fortify your postseason resume also.
And for teams like Texas, Oklahoma State, and OU, this is a kind of a vie for that top national seed. Who gets to host?
Camille Corona grounded out to third base her first time. Top of the order, Jefferson and then Ellsworth also here in the 5th. I mean, how would you term this start by Shannon Mortimer today?
She's been pretty solid, but I feel like at 4th inning, she came in, she got 2 quick outs as we've seen her do for the majority of this game, and then we saw the wild pitch and stuck a runner in scoring position, and that sort of opened up an opportunity for Texas, and they took advantage of it. They strung 3 hits together in a row, kind of going off of the 2-out single. So from what I've seen from Mortimer, I'd like to see her go the distance in this game because really we've seen 1 really hard hit single. Past that, we haven't seen Texas really square the ball up.
Just a little bit away, and the count is full to Corona. Mortimer retired 10 straight batters in between the 1st and the 4th inning, and then gave up 3 hits and 2 runs in that 4th for Texas to retake the lead.
Something that could come into play for Mortimer, we mentioned earlier that this is really only her 2nd start of the season, and she's seen a lot of time in relief. What is her endurance going to be like? There's a big difference between starting a game and throwing 7 innings versus coming in the 5th or 6th and closing a game out. So I'm curious to see here in the back half of the game what her endurance looks like.
There's ball 4, a leadoff walk in the 5th.
And of all the times to walk a player, What we don't want to see is a leadoff walk to the 9-hole to roll this lineup back over to Janae Jefferson.
Jefferson had a hit and scored a run in the first and then flied out to right field in the third. Bunted beautifully. I mean, no chance. Trying to go to third this time is Corona, and she's out.
What a beautifully executed bunt by Janae Jefferson, taking it with her down the first base line. I understand what Corona was trying to do. Coach White is not happy about the call. But I think Corona thought that she had the third baseman beat getting back to the bag, and she broke.
Well, she felt like she avoided the tag of Shaban. We'll get a good look at it on this angle, I think.
And she got her right there on the arm.
But the call is out. Jefferson safe at first on the play. So with one down, here's Ellsworth, who's 0 for 2 in this game.
I love the aggressiveness, but as soon as Shaban didn't pick up the ball, she broke back and beat Corona back to the bag with a good 5 to 10 feet.
One more look from this angle now. I'm with you. I think if she got her, it was on the right arm.
We've got it a lot easier. We get to see the replay.
It's great being an armchair coach. This one pulled to third. They get the out at second, and it's a double play turned by the Cyclones. That is their 15th double play of the year. Snappily turned, and the inning is over. We're through 5 in Oklahoma City. Longhorns on top of the Cyclones 3-1, and Iowa State getting an around-the-horn double play to close things in the 5th. 12 well represented in this past week's Athletes Unlimited Professional Draft. Texas Shannon Rhodes, number 2 overall. G. Juarez, the Oklahoma pitcher, number 3. And Sammy Williams, number 8 overall for Iowa State. 12 players were drafted. 4 of them out of the Big 12. This pitch is swung on and lifted to right. First pitch swinging, Carly Spellhog. This league is absolutely loaded. And there's Shannon Rhodes, the Texas center fielder, the highest draftee among Big 12 conference players.
And, you know, a lot of that is attested to what she can do offensively. She's got power, and everything that she has done this season, very well deserved.
Here is Sammy Williams, and there's the Texas center fielder, Shannon Rhodes. Sammy Williams had a base hit and scored in the 4th.
And Williams kind of what started the whole rally for Iowa State after 3 innings of just up and down, up and down. So see if Sammy Williams can get a rally going here for Iowa State, because as quickly as this game is moving, we're about to run out of time, it feels like.
Sammy Williams, drafted number 8, the Big 12 softball student athlete of the year. There's a strike from O'Leary. 5 1/3 innings of 3-hit ball, just 1 strikeout, but no walks for O'Leary.
She's been very solid and just letting her defense work with as aggressive as this Iowa State offense has been.
Williams pounds this one foul. 2-2. MK Tedder is now out in right field. for Texas. Came in as a pinch runner. Full count to Williams. Michaela Ramos is on deck. Iowa State's run came on an Alicia Ranches base hit that scored Sammy Williams in the fourth. Williams, as Jefferson mishandles that ball, and Sammy Williams is safe at first base. That's kind of been the Achilles heel this year for Texas.
It has. You know, you've seen Texas and what they have done offensively in leading the country, or being in the top of the country offensively in numbers. The defense has really at times been what has let Texas down. And in all honesty, in these tight games against top opponents, it's really been the difference maker in those games.
But you get an error and follow it with a double play, and it's no harm done for Shea O'Leary and the Longhorns. Michaela Ramos grounds into the double play, and for Texas, it's their 20th double play of the year. That leads the Big 12 Conference. Texas leads Iowa State 3-1 as we move to the bottom of the sixth in Oklahoma City. First pitch swinging, and that's a laser, but hit right to Spellhog at first base. So Lauren Burke is retired. She drove in a run back in the first inning.
I feel like this is the game of low pitch count on both sides. Mortimer has not thrown very many pitches. Neither has O'Leary for Texas. This has been a put the ball in play, let your defense do their work type of game on both sides of the ball.
That'll bring in the left-hand batting Iacopo, and this is driven deep to right field. That's way back, and it's gone. Well, a pinch hitter coming on for the Longhorns and blasting that one deep to right field. Caitlin Washington with her third home run of the year, RBI number 19, and perhaps some much-needed insurance for Texas.
And what a blast. Caitlin Washington just coming in, one swing, one run. I heard the Longhorn dugout singing happy birthday to her on her way in. I think she's the one giving a birthday gift today.
That's why you pinch hit, right? We're
Yes.
putting you in there for one reason. So she pinch hits for Iacopo and drills one out. Where Texas can really leave the yard. That's their 73rd home run. Here's the year for Shannon Rhodes. Number 2 pick, as we told you this past week. Hard hit ground ball, foul outside of third. Rhodes had a base hit, scored a run in the fourth.
Rhodes has really just had a great career. Not all of it has been at Texas, but even with what she did in the Pac-12 at Oregon, she's really just had an impressive career with everything that she has done.
And she pulls this one foul.
You were talking about it a minute ago, Chad, about the home run power of this Texas team, and that's what I really feel that's really what makes them so scary, for lack of a better word, offensively, is the fact that anybody in their lineup 1 through 9 has the potential to leave the yard at any time. And when you're facing a lineup like that, it's tough because you don't get any time off. It's not very often that you feel like the 7, 8, or 9 hole is a home run threat.
And we saw that in the fourth inning. Mortimer just kind of sailing through things, retires 10 in a row, and starts to get down to the lower part of the lineup. And a double by Colleen Sullivan in the number 7 spot. is what kind of started to break this game open. Then you go to the bench and get a pinch home run from Washington. And you see what Mike White is talking about. Yeah, we feel like the top 3 or 4 are set in the lineup. Probably the top 3, in all honesty. And then after that, you kind of move the chess pieces around a little bit. And the chess piece here was Caitlin Washington hitting that home run.
Yeah, and you talk about moving the starting lineup with Texas and all of just the offensive kind of tools that they have on the bench at any given time. And we just saw it again with Caitlin Washington. It makes it to where this is a hard offensive lineup just to get into.
Back up the middle, and a base hit for Rhodes is her second of the game.
And I'm curious here. And a good job by Rhodes. Again, taking this outside pitch right back up the middle. But this is, we're at a point right now that we're getting into some of the most pitches and the longest game that Mortimer has thrown all season.
This one is driven to deep straightaway center field by Parker, and it's gone. Second home run of the inning for the Longhorns. They've hit 74 as a team, and Texas has broken this game open.
And with this lineup, you expect to see the long ball with everything that they've done this season. And again, I'm curious to know how much of this is a little bit of fatigue setting in for Mortimer, who has been, for the most part, a closer for this season. And that pitch just missed right down the middle, and Parker made her pay.
Home run number 7 for Parker. RBIs 22 and 23. Mortimer's longest outing this year, 5 2/3 innings against Missouri State. And she's at 5 1/3 now.
She really started this game strong. And, we saw Texas string a couple things together back in the 4th. And now kind of laying it on a little bit thicker with the 5-run lead.
MK Tedder, the batter. Tedder came on and ran for Colleen Sullivan after Sullivan doubled in the 4th. And this is her first at bat of the game. Sullivan had driven in a run with her double. Tedder, one of those kind of invaluable substitution players. She was a starting third baseman as a freshman, and then kind of a part-time starter and bench player since then. She's been a designated player at times, but a good program player, her 4th season on the 40 acres. And there's ball 4.
Good at bat there by Tedder. Interested to see if we're going to see Iowa State take a little bit of a pause here.
Looks like we'll have a pitching change. So Mortimer running into trouble here in the 6th inning. She will leave. But a good outing for her nonetheless. She kept her team in this game. It's just been the home runs by Washington and Parker in this inning that have forced a decision on the part of Jamie Pinkerton.
And we've got Texas. Caitlin Washington starting it off with the pinch hit home run, followed up by Mackenzie Parker taking Mortimer long again. Again, that's what Texas has done all season long with those monster home run numbers.
So the 2 home runs chasing Mortimer and giving way to Ellie Spellhog. This is her Big 12 leading 33rd appearance. They've used her as the closer some. Sophomore from Bettendorf, Iowa. And Ellie Spellhog was a basketball player at Bradley before transferring to Iowa State. And last year pitched 56 innings in her first season as a Cyclone. Wanting to play with Carly Spellhog, her sister.
That is not a story you hear very often.
It is not.
Transfer from a different sport.
You see her 33rd appearance, most in the Big 12. 13-5 record. And we also see Texas and Mike White going to go to the bench again. They'll pinch hit Courtney Day for J.J. Smith. Day whacks this one foul. 2-1.
Spellhog's job here, with 1 out here in the 6th, find a way to stop the bleeding. Keep this game within striking distance going into the top of the 7th for Iowa State.
That one bounds away from Ramos. And Tedder will move down to second base on the wild pitch. Courtney Day also pitches for Texas. One of the reasons she's in is she homered, did Courtney Day, in the series against Iowa State earlier this year. Second-year freshman is Courtney Day. Slow roller to short. 2 down.
Good work by Spellhog, kind of finding the zone a little bit. We saw her come in, miss a few pitches, but finding the zone and finding a way to get an out.
Coming in the game to hit for Texas, number 11, Alyssa Washington.
Alyssa Washington is going to pinch hit here for Texas, so a litany of pinch hitters employed. We saw Caitlin Washington with a 1-out home run as a pinch hitter earlier in the inning. We saw Courtney Day. Now Alyssa Washington batting for Camille Corona. Alyssa Washington on the Big 12 all-freshman team. She made 23 starts in the regular season and played all over the place. Second, third, short.
There's a lot of players on this Texas team who, you can almost classify them as utility players. They're just pure athletes who you can stick anywhere on the field and they're going to be able to get the job done.
Fly ball to center, a long run in for Gosey. She can't get there. Tedder will score. So Alyssa Washington with the pinch hit flare to center that makes it a 7-1 Texas lead.
And Washington just finding a way to get it done and roll it back up to Janae Jefferson. This pitch just found a way to get enough of it. She got under it a bit, but was able to find a hole for the RBI. And here comes Janae Jefferson.
Janae Jefferson, 2 out of 3 with a couple of singles today, both on the infield. Scored a run in the first. She's the 8th Texas batter here in the 6th inning. 4 runs on 4 hits now, including a pair of home runs, one by Caitlin Washington and one by Mackenzie Parker. Jefferson's shown some pop this year. In fact, she did in the Iowa State series. She hit 2 home runs in Game 2 against Iowa State in their series. That's just not fair. When you can bunt and run and slap and do all the things she does.
Yeah, she's tough to defend. And, if you can see her here standing in this at bat, but to have someone who has the speed in the short game that Janae Jefferson has, on top of the fact that she has the power to leave the ballpark, it doesn't happen very often. Usually you get one or the other.
And there's probably a little strategy at play here. She does have power, does Janae Jefferson. And if she could homer, Texas could end this game early and save some outs and some innings on their pitching staff in a championship environment like this.
Yeah, and that would be big time. You know, right before you said that, I was looking at the scoreboard going, we're in home, we're in run roll territory at this point.
It escalated quickly. Jefferson hits this one foul. She's up there hacking in this at bat, isn't she?
And we've seen a lot of short game from her today, but she is up there. She's trying to end this ball game. You can see by those swings that she's taken.
Janae Jefferson, 3-time first team All Big 12 in 3 seasons at Texas. 3-time All-American, including last year, even in the COVID-shortened season, when she hit .554.
What she has done offensively, I mean, and I really think a lot. I mean, you can pick players out of this entire Texas lineup offensively and kind of talk, you know, about what Ellsworth has done and Iakopo and Rhodes. And, you know, I really believe that this part of what kind of makes this lineup go is Janae Jefferson in the leadoff spot.
She's the spark plug.
No question.
Full count with 2 down.
And this is a big pitch here for Jefferson. Or excuse me, for Iowa State.
Jefferson pulls this to second base. Simpson flips it to Williams for the final out. But Texas has taken firm control of this one on home runs. First by Caitlin Washington. A solo shot with 1 out. And then Mackenzie Parker with a runner aboard. A 2-run blast. Part of a 4-run Texas 6th inning. They lead 7-1, and they'll run game to Oklahoma State in their earlier game today. This is Iowa State's first game. They'll take on Oklahoma State tonight at 5 o'clock at OGE Energy Field. Oklahoma has a 8-2 lead in the other game being played right now over Baylor up at the other stadium as Malaysia Ochoa delivers a leadoff single for the Cyclones here in the 7th inning. But the teams with the best record in each pool will play for first place. Next best record plays for third, and then we'll have a 5th place game tomorrow as well.
Good job by Ochoa coming out after Texas had their big inning in the bottom of the 6th, trying to string something together here in the 7th for Iowa State.
Alicia Ranches drove in the Cyclones' lone run. Rips this one into left field. Has her 2nd hit of the game. We wonder how much longer O'Leary will pitch. Pitched a complete game against Oklahoma State earlier today.
And to me, and Ranches even kind of almost stepped in the bucket to get to this inside pitch to drive it to the left side of the field. But to me, I mean, you've got a 6-run lead at this point, and you know that Texas has other arms in their arsenal. You know, got to come back tomorrow and go again. So it's interesting keeping O'Leary out there, but in the same token, I mean, she's in postseason form, having thrown a lot of innings for Texas this season.
That one bounces. And safe is Ochoa on the throw back in. Gosey is 0 for 2 with a fly ball to left and a ground out to second base.
If Iowa State is able to put a couple runs on the board, and I can't tell right now at this point if Texas has anyone up and moving in their bullpen or not.
Swing foul down the left field line.
But you kind of wonder, you know, how long are you going to ride O'Leary? Especially in the 7th. There's 3 outs to go. You've got a deep staff. Allow someone else to come in and finish the game out.
It was not a super taxing first 5 or 6 innings.
That is true. O'Leary, I think she probably threw about 10 pitches in the first time through this Iowa State lineup. Each inning for the first 3 innings.
One and 2 on Callie Gosey. The appeal down to third base, and it was a swing.
Oh, wow.
Terry Holt, the third base umpire, says Gosey went around for the first out.
That's a tough call. I'm not sure. Maybe seeing it on the replay might change my mind. But it looks like she may have. That's a tough call to make from the vantage point we had on the pitch. It looked like she held up.
Here's Casey Simpson, 0 for 2. Simpson grounded to third in the 3rd, popped up to second base in the 5th inning.
O'Leary has been very solid so far. I mean, I say so far, we're in the 7th inning throughout this game. And Iowa State just hasn't really been able, they got a run back in the 4th, but hasn't really been able to put anything together consistently.
See Ranches jumping back to the bag safely. (3-1) in the air, falls fair just inside the left field line. Ochoa is in to score, and here comes Iowa State once again. Casey Simpson delivers with a base hit to left.
Iowa State, again, kind of that underdog, scrappy mentality. They are not going to give up down 6 runs. And great job by Simpson. Good at bat, fouling pitches off and finding a way to get the RBI and keep hope alive for the Cyclones here in the 7th.
Texas is going to make a pitching change now. Good outing, though. You think about how many innings that we have seen O'Leary throw today. 8 2/3, or essentially the whole game against Oklahoma State. And here with 1 out in the top of the 7th today. A pitching change. The Longhorns will turn to Molly Jacobson, the left-hander. As she warms up, we'll step aside for a break.
Rear at DMAC, and I'm sure that she's got some buddies in that Iowa State dugout, being from Iowa herself.
See her numbers at 13 and 4. She has the most strikeouts looking of any pitcher in the Big 12. 32 of them. Why would that be?
You know, she's coming from the left side, and she does a good job.
That is misplayed out at second base. Ranches races in to score a run. 7-3 now.
Kind of a high hopper. You saw Jefferson cut in short, try to cut it off and couldn't do it. And then Parker coming in behind her. Kind of an interesting played ball here. Get the high hop and Jefferson couldn't quite come up with it.
Ruled a base hit for Shaban.
And I kind of go back to, and this is a good job and good piece of hitting by Shaban, but again, one thing that Texas has struggled with at times has been making plays on defense, either routine or not necessarily routine. But when you are a top 10 team in the country, you know, those plays, a routine play has got to be made 99.9% of the time. And you also get those big time plays.
Beating the Rapid first is Skylar Ramos. Shaban is cut down at second base. 2 down. Casey Simpson crosses the plate. 3rd run of the inning. 7-4 now.
Just going back to how important those insurance runs were. When I say insurance runs, breaking this game open for Texas back in the 6th. And Iowa State coming on again in the 7th and making this a couple base hit game of tying this up.
7-4. Ramos gets credit for an RBI on the ground out. And with 2 down, back to the top of the order for Carly Spellhog, who is 0 for 3.
And Spellhog is due. She struggled a bit today, putting the ball in the air quite a bit.
Cyclones down to their final out. Jacobson trying to close it out. And Spellhog hits it foul. Evening things at 1-1. Simpson an RBI single. Shaban delivering an RBI single, and the RBI ground out by Ramos. 3 runs on 4 hits in the inning. But now the Cyclones down to their final strike. Texas will be done with pool play after this, and they will have to wait it out and see the result of Iowa State's game with Oklahoma State later tonight. It's possible we could have all 3 teams 1-1. Then we have to go to some tiebreakers. This one pulled foul.
And that Texas-Oklahoma State game could have gone either way. Going extra innings. We've seen a pretty good matchup here between Texas and Iowa State. So this Oklahoma State-Iowa State game this evening could get interesting as well. This is a tough, both sides of these brackets are tough, but I feel like the Pool B bracket is a little bit deceptive in the scrappiness you get from Iowa State, and then having Texas and Oklahoma State both in the same bracket.
Over in Pool A, Oklahoma has run-ruled Baylor 10-2. So Baylor 0-2 in Pool A, and Oklahoma is 1-0. This one once again in the air and caught, backing up by Janae Jefferson, the second baseman. That'll do it. The Longhorns able to win it 7-4. They are 1-1 in this Phillips 66 Big 12 softball championship. Now, Janae Jefferson takes care of the final out. It was a close game. In fact, it was 3-1 when we went to the bottom of the 5th inning. Texas getting the 4 runs there.